Welcome to Back to Basics. I'm Boaz Zinniman. Today we are going to talk about websites, something I've been developing for more than 2 decades now. In this episode, I'm going to show you a pattern using AWS to improve your website frontend and to exchange your backend with a serverless architecture. I assume many of you are familiar with the 3-tier web application architecture. This architecture represents a website with a 3-tier that many websites follow in some way or another. We start with the presentation layer. This is what your site visitors will see and interact with. Then, the business logic layer, which has many different roles, from serving content that will be used by the presentation layer, interacting with your user, using forms, alerts, and more, and up to managing complex e-commerce operations like providing products catalog, managing customers' shopping carts, providing order tracking services, and more. The last layer is the data layer, used to store the data that is being used by your website. In many cases, this is going to be some sort of a database, but a data layer can be implemented with other techniques, such as storing the data in memory or in files. You can run your website on AWS using this 3-tier architecture with virtual servers for your front-end code and business logic, and Amazon RDS for your relational database service in the cloud. But while this is easier comparing to running those servers and services on your own, this basic setup of one backend virtual machine and a database service can scale very fast to a complex setup of multiple virtual machines behind a load balancer and multiple databases with redundancy and replication to allow high availability and fast performance. This is where you can take advantage of the serverless technology to run your website in a more maintainable, scalable, and cost-effective way. By utilizing the Amazon S3 website hosting feature, you can use S3 as your storage for all your presentation layer and front-end assets, such as HTML, file, images, JavaScripts, and media assets. This will allow you to run static websites with no servers. But most websites are not static and require some kind of a backend and business logic. You can build a full scalable serverless website by building REST-based backend using Amazon API Gateway and AWS Lambda, and initiate requests to this layer from your front-end code using JavaScript. Connecting API call events to specific Lambda functions will allow you to build the needed business logic for your application. For your data layer, you can choose from a variety of databases and storage services, such as relational databases, NoSQL, in-memory, and more. Some of them serverless, and others fully managed services. AWS provides a rich AWS JavaScript SDK that enables you to access AWS services directly from your front-end code using JavaScript. Yes, that might save you some of the time and some of the cost associated with calling API Gateway, but I would really recommend you think about it before implementing this SDK and calling those services directly. You might end up DDoSing yourself or preventing your application from doing authentication or authorization, and you really need this layer of API Gateway between your users and your backend architecture. Why should you implement this pattern? With this architecture, you will be able to reduce your overhead, get a much more scalable architecture, and you can always scale only parts of it. Speed is another factor. This is my personal website running on WordPress that I migrated to serverless several months ago. As you can see, this is running 13 times faster than a traditional 3-tier architecture. And last but not least, cost-effective. Lambda is built by 1 millisecond increments, and you pay only for what you use. That's it. Serverless websites are my go-to pattern in the last few years for every new project that needs a website. Check the links below for more details. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.